there's a really popular movement of fostering personal growth through hatred and rejection of one's current circumstances. Your whole online persona is the absolute antithesis of this idea. You preach that we should be grateful for what we have right now, rejecting the idea that happiness is on the other side of forcing ourselves through pain. Could you explain to me the contrast between these two philosophies and why you believe that gratitude is the best path to fulfillment?
Absolutely. And I just want to say that is one of the greatest compliments I feel like I could receive because you're absolutely right. I am 100% the antithesis of this movement. Yeah, it's super, super popular right now to gripe and complain about everything. And that your personal growth is through this negative approach to everything. Um, I do not find that that actually works well. What I find is you end up with a lot of people who are negative and their physical body and especially their mind starts exhibiting all of the scientifically proven negative effects that come from this type of constant negative approach to life. And what happens is you end up with a negative spiral that your life will, not everybody, but a lot of people's lives will actually tend to get worse
Mm-hmm.
while they are adopting that philosophy, which only gives them more negative things to talk about. I, on the other hand, believe that if you have a positive mindset and a positive approach to life, and you are grateful for everything that is there. I'm not saying you're grateful for every single thing that happens to you, but in everything, there's something to be grateful for, and you can shift your focus to a positive mindset. And I believe that that creates a snowball of success instead of a snowball of negativity. You build positive on positive on positive. And my own story reflects that, but I've seen it in so many people along the way. Discouragement causes people to quit, and encouragement motivates people to move forward. So yes, I believe that these two things are very antithetical, and I do get some flack because of my position, because, it's popular to complain about my income. It's popular to complain about the rent in my local area. It's popular to complain about politics. It's popular to complain about religion and all of those things. But in all reality, what is that changing? Is it doing anything, or is it just a perspective? And you'll enjoy life a whole lot more when you intentionally look for things in your life that are good than spending all your time looking for things in life that are not good.
I love that. Yeah, when you frame your perspective to look for the good, you're going to find more good. You're going to find more to be grateful for. Um, I think one problem that I'm a not as big as you, but I try to preach gratefulness in my daily life and to the people around me as well. And something I hear a lot is what you're saying sounds so simple, just be grateful right now, but for so many people, it's really hard. It feels really complicated. Um, so how do you systematically approach becoming grateful for what you have?
Yeah, you've nailed it. And I don't beat around the bush on that when I'm working with people on this. It's hard, especially if it's not something that's built into your personality naturally. Um, it's very hard. And I'll give you just a little bit of my story. Naturally, I'm an optimist. I have been my whole life. And so it's easy for me to see the good in life. And a lot of people have said, well, that's a gift that you have, and I just don't have that gift. Except that when I started the Today I Am Grateful channels on social media, that was not where I was. I was in a very bad place in life. I was in a mental health struggle dealing with anxiety, like controlling anxiety, and a critical and analytical spirit. And I had very, very much gone downhill. There's a whole story there, but I was not in a good place. And a friend of mine challenged me to start listing the things I was grateful for in life, which for somebody to challenge me on that really hit, because naturally that was something that I just did. I had never had to make it a discipline in my life. I'd never had to make it a practice before. And here all of a sudden, like all of that has left me. And so I was going to start back and do it. And this is like a core tenet of my message has been. So when I started, all of the gratitude instructions, like I knew about gratitude journaling, it's a thing. And so I was doing that, and every single one of them is like, you lift to list 3 things you're grateful for today. And then ideally as specific as possible, because that has the best, neurological response. There's scientific studies on this. This is what you're supposed to do. And if you can do it for at least 17 minutes, it starts to have all these other positive effects on your brain and your body. And like, I couldn't handle it. I could not handle it. It was stressing me out to even think of trying to do this grateful thing. I was anxious. And so I couldn't even come up with 3 things to be grateful for. It was triggering my anxiety to try to be grateful, to come up with more than one thing. I'm just like, this is not working. This is supposed to be something that's helpful to me in my mental health journey and getting myself back in a positive track in life. And instead, it's actually triggering my anxiety and making everything worse. So I did something that I did not realize was radical at the time, but apparently is. I finally settled and like, okay, I'm a perfectionist. So I was like, I have to do everything right. The science says these are all the perfect things to do. I gave up on all of it. And I said, I am going to pick one thing that I am grateful for in a day. I can't handle 3. I can't handle 17 minutes. I can't handle a paragraph of something specific. I'm going to pick one thing that I can handle. And I'm just going to repeat that thing to myself all day long. And I'm going to call that good. And that is honestly what started the Today I'm Grateful approach to gratitude. It completely goes against all the other standard ways of doing things, but mine is one thing, something simple, get your focus where it needs to be, because everybody can handle one simple thing. So that's where I was. I started because I literally couldn't handle it. I could not do all this other stuff. I had lost all those abilities. So when people say it's hard, I 100% agree. It is hard. It was hard. I literally couldn't do 3. And it was hard for me to even come up with 1. Now that I've made a lot of progress in the journey, you look back on it, it's like, no, everything's easy. It's easy to get 1, but it's not when you're not there in the mindset. And so, yes, I will 100% agree and affirm your feelings that it is hard. It is hard to get started. It was hard for weeks for me. For weeks, I did it out of sheer discipline, forcing myself to do this. And I started the social media channel for my own personal accountability because I didn't want to keep doing it. And I needed something that was kind of pushing me that way. And that was where actually the beginning of the social media channel was actually for me. It was to help personal discipline for myself in this gratitude journey. But this is what I'll tell you. After a few weeks of doing it hard, it started to happen naturally. And that was when I knew that something was changing in my mind. And I like to go for walks. I like to go for jogs. But what had happened was during that time when I was jogging, it would be like my mind constantly feeding anxiety and all these things I'm worried about and analyzing and being critical and negative of. And it wasn't a pleasant time mentally anymore. And I was out jogging one day and this thought popped in my mind of like, oh, that's something you could be grateful for. I think I saw Bluebird or something like that. And it's like, oh, that's something you could be grateful for. And I'm going on the jog. There's another thing. Yeah, that's something you could be grateful for. That's something you could be grateful for. Till I had to stop and like write these things down. And I'm like, hey, something is changing in my mind, because now instead of critical, negative, and anxiety, this time period is shifting to gratitude and positivity. And that is what I'm all about. It is hard to get started, but if you will do it for a few weeks, you will see the benefits and your mind will start to rewire itself to the positive.
You just finished watching a clip from the Grateful podcast with David Lorimer from Today I'm Grateful. If you liked it, you can find the full episode by clicking right here. Come on. Click it. It's really good.